Hello, my name is Jeff Bezos. I started Amazon.com about 15 years ago. Tons of stories from the early days. We started the company in my house. We didn't have enough electric power in the house at a certain point. We only had about 4 employees then, but we already had enough computers and computer servers that we had to string these big orange electric extension cords from every room in the house to get enough power into the room where the office was. So we were basically, all the circuit breakers were flipping. So we finally had to move to a real office. When we launched the store, we made a very early mistake. We found that customers could order a negative quantity of books.
Cute.
And we would credit their credit card with the price, and I assume wait around for them to ship us the books.
Really?
We fixed that one. It's fixed. And we've made a bunch of other mistakes over time, but we've learned a lot. My whole body is covered in scar tissue. We initially programmed a bell to ring every time we got an order, and I'm very pleased to say that within the first 30 days of doing business, that bell got annoying, so we had to turn it off. There was a great moment when we were examining every order that would come into Amazon, and it was always a family member placing the order. And the first order that we got from a stranger, I remember, there were probably half a dozen or 10 of us in the company at that time. We're all gathered around after the bell rang and looking at the order, and we're like, is that your mom? That's not my mom. And thus it began. A lot has happened over the last 15 years. As I said, we've made a lot of mistakes. We've learned some things. And I want to tell you everything I know. I can guarantee you everything I know. It's a very short list. This won't take long. And it's complete, too. All right, well, the first thing I know is that you need to obsess over customers. I can tell you that we have been doing this from the very beginning, and it's the only reason that Amazon.com exists today in any form. Put customers first. When given the choice of obsessing over competitors or obsessing over customers, we always obsess over customers.
But what exactly is the product?
We pay attention to what our competitors do, but it's not where we put our energy. It's not where we get our motivation from. We really like to start with customers and work backwards. And again, that is the key thing that I know, and it covers a lot of other mistakes.
Show me your bestseller.
So if you're truly obsessed over customers, it'll cover a lot of errors. The second thing I know is invent.
I think it's cool.
It's really important to invent. Anytime we have a problem, we never accept either or thinking. We try to figure out a solution that gets both things. And that often requires invention, but you can invent your way out of any box if you believe that you can.
So what do you actually do? Because you're talking about creating content, and then we've got a product over there.
What we talk about is inventing on behalf of customers. It's not a customer's job to invent for themselves. You need to listen to customers. It's critical. If you don't listen to customers, you will go astray. But they won't tell you everything, and so you need to invent on their behalf. And that focus on invention has served us well. Some of the recent things, even Kindle, not just Kindle, but EC2, the Elastic Compute Cloud, these are things that we would have never gotten to if we didn't have an inventive culture.
Do people buy this?
But also, those are kind of large grain things, but there are small things too.
I can imagine. How many of these have you actually sold?
Think long term. This is really critical.
Yeah.
Any company that wants to focus on customers and put customers first.
So 30,000. You've done well, but could it scale and become a real business?
Any company that wants to invent on behalf of customers has to be willing to think long term. And it's actually much rarer than you might think. I find that most of the initiatives we undertake may take 5 to 7 years.
You value the business at 800,000.
Before they pay any dividends for the company. They may start paying dividends for customers right away, but they often take a long time to pan out for shareholders in the company. So that ability to think in sort of 5 years and 7 year time frames really is very, very useful for us, and
You're already adding on the value add with that.
it's definitely one of the things that I know. It requires, by the way, and allows a willingness to be misunderstood. If you think long term, many of the inventions that we undertake, maybe if they're disruptive in any way, they may not be understood in the early innings.
Okay.
And it's always been very important for us to think long term so that we can tolerate being misunderstood.
Even with the Dragon on board, I don't see how you can scale the business beyond a couple of 100,000 sales.
We've been called Amazon.toast, Amazon.con.
But unfortunately, I'm out.
Many different things, many of them not appropriate for a video.
I'm out.
You're doing quite well in terms of the numbers, but I think it's a little too niche. I'm not going to invest today, so I'm out.
If we think we're right, then we continue.
There's so much to do here. At the moment, you're still what I call in artisan stage. And I've got another 30 businesses to run.
If we think we're wrong, if we're criticized about something we think we're wrong, we change it. We fix it.
Therefore, I'm out.
It's important to really think about those things, but never to buckle to sort of standard kinds of pressures.
Are very engaging, and that is a very powerful thing that you have got.
It's a huge competitive advantage to be able to think long term.
Really, you're being able to spread that message out to the people who are using your product. I don't think you need an investor.
And you get to serve customers much better. All right. That's all that I know, really.
You need a business partner.
I know one more thing. I'll save it for the end.
I won't be investing, I'm afraid. I'm out.
But I want to, this is a very exciting day. Zappos is a company that I have long admired, and for a very important reason. Zappos has a customer obsession.
Good luck.
All the best.
Best of luck with everything, though.
I know that it's just the very beginning. And that brings me to my final thing that I know. It's always day one. There's always more invention in the future, always more customer innovation, new ways to obsess over customers. I'm super excited about Zappos. Thank you.